This is 3 Count Thoughts. You can catch a new episode every Monday where we discuss a moment in wrestling history and the week's highlights and hell knows in professional wrestling. Are you ready? Ring the bell. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 3 Count Thoughts. Today we're going to be talking a litust bit about the Gold Dust Trio. That's right. It's like, so I figured, by the way, hello, everybody. I'm Jaxus. I'm also known as Patrick Conway. I'm probably going to go more by Patrick Conway. I'm sorry. I do other podcasts, so I get a little confused about my identity. It's just kind of how it is. And I also am here with my co-host, Maverick. Say hello, Maverick.
Hello.
You didn't say hello, Maverick. All right.
Hello, Maverick.
No. Anyway.
Oh, the joke went over my head.
Yeah, and it hit the wall and it bounced back. Anyway, so
the
this
recoil.
is our inaugural episode of the 3 Count Thoughts podcast. We are a wrestling podcast, and what we're going to do is this is our setup here, our format, as you were, and as you will. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about wrestling history, just a tad. You know, probably about the first 15, 20 minutes of our show is going to be a little touch of something from the past. And we're going to kind of go over that. And it's going to be a little short thing. It's not going to be too long. And then after that, we're going to get into like Monday Night Raw and, you know, NXT, maybe the nearest pay-per-view, our thoughts, our feelings, our views.
I mean, Survivor Series just happened.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, our thoughts, our reviews, our complaints, our whininess, and our fun.
I have some complaints with Survivor Series.
I have many complaints with AEW, so we're in.
We are in the same boat with AEW here.
They are hurting my soul right now. It's like I was so like looking forward to this, like, you know, revival of like the Monday Night Wars and everything, and I just feel like
it turned into the Tuesday Night Wars, and then NXT.
It turned into the Tuesday night let's shit the bed is what it turned into.
Yeah, that's what it turned into.
I was like, oh, come on, guys. Anyway, so before we get going into the podcast, I want to take a moment real quick to ask you to please like and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube at 3 Count Thoughts. That's our it literally says at 3 Count Thoughts. And then you can also send us a message on Twitter at 3 Count Thoughts or X, whatever you want to call it this week. You can also reach us by sending us an email at 3countthoughts@gmail.com. There will be a link down into the notes or the description down there at the bottom for
somewhere
our
down
personal,
there. Somewhere down there.
Somewhere in the bottom, you know, down there.
Somewhere down
there. Yeah, it'll be a link to our Discord, so you can actually come there and visit us. And I don't know what we'll do except for, like, I don't know, maybe play cards, send pictures, gifs to each other of stupid memes. I you know, whatever you do.
Pay-per-view watching.
Right.
Maybe we all.
I don't know if we can legitimately do something like that. So
I don't think so. But we could all crap on AEW if we wanted to.
Well, yeah, all right, so I don't want to crap on AEW. What I want is I want all ships to rise in the tide, man. You know, that's what I really want to see. I want to see
I'm
AEW
just saying
succeed.
these latest episodes of AEW Dynamite have not been good.
God. Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm not totally crapping on AEW because AEW has put out some good stuff, but recently it's just been bad.
I think Tony needs to put down the straw and the pen and hand the pen to somebody else and let them kind of, you know,
like a Triple H type creative person.
Yes, a booker. Yeah, somebody that's like got
someone like that.
Somebody that's got some of that old school in them. You know, somebody that's gonna go stop. No. You don't need another table. No. You don't need to hit somebody with the corner of the chair and split their skull open. No. You do not need to drop this guy on his head. No, we don't need any more mud show stuff. All right. Like maybe we need to, I don't know.
We need better booking of their women's division. But we
need storylines. Anyway, all right, so
yeah, later I will get on my soapbox about that.
We're already running hard, man. We've been excited. We've been pent up waiting for this.
Yeah.
Moment. So anyway, right now I'm going to get into a little bit of history here. See if I can get a little maybe I can get a pictorial up here. Maybe, huh?
Pictures.
Trio. Let's see if I can get a picture of these guys. All right, so do a little share screeny stuff here.
Circus.
It's going to be like a,
Circus.
there we go. Oops. Okay.
There's our
Yep.
YouTube channel. Woo!
Yeah, well, it's the search for our YouTube channel.
There's our search.
All right. Let's get to the other one. There we go. All right. And we get a full-size picture of that. Yes. Well, so
Maybe.
obviously,
Oh,
there.
we're talking. CM Punk.
Well,
Right.
we'll get into that later.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I had some thoughts about that too.
Well, all right. So I know you're not much in love with CM Punk, and
Not
unfortunately, you're.
recently.
Well, you might be slightly alone on that. I mean, so anyway, I don't know if I want to get into that just yet, but right now we're going to talk about the Gold Dust Trio. Does that look good to you? Can you kind of see that? Okay.
I can sort of see that. Yeah.
Just so people have a good idea. All right. So if you're looking at the picture, the guy on the far left, that guy would be known as Toots Mont. And he is kind of the brainchild not kind of, he is the brainchild that put together what they called slam bang Western style. And that is the wrestling style that we kind of notice today. It's got more involved in it than just a headlock for 45 minutes, which is funny because a lot of the people who say that are saying that about this kind of wrestling style. And actually, before that, the original wrestling style, they literally would be in a hold for like 10, 15, 20 minutes laying on the ground, flopping back and forth. It was almost like watching an MMA match where everybody was dosed out on some sort of drug to where they didn't move around really fast. That was kind of what it was. The guy's picture there, the cowboy hat, that's Ed Strangler Lewis. And he was the heavyweight champion in that period of time. Now, mind you, he was a shoot heavyweight champion. This guy actually whooped ass to get that title. Like
he did.
Yeah, this was like full on legit. And then a name that might like shock a few people. This is Billy Sandow, the guy on the far right hand side there, with the looks like a strange little funky looking hairdo with a nice bow tie on. That guy right there is Billy Sandow, which is where you get Adrian Sandow got his name. Kind of used that as a thing. Well, so Billy Sandow was actually the manager of Ed Strangler Lewis. He managed Strangler Lewis's career. And then so part of their history was that Ed and Billy were kind of like jaded with the business, so to speak, as it was. And he decided he wanted to like do his own thing. Well, they got together with Toots Mont and Strangler Lewis, and these guys put their heads together, and with a little bit of convincing, Toots Mont got Strangler Lewis and Billy to kind of agree to this slam bang Western style of wrestling, kind of, indoctrinated him into it. And then they started creating the very first matches as we see them today, predetermined matches. So that they would create
story. Like the body slams, the suplexes, the arm drags.
Well, so kind of, but they would actually, the thing was, they knew who was going to win is the point. By doing so, they kind of worked backwards. So they knew who was going to win, and then they would fill it in with all of their moves and the things to get them to that point. And by doing so, what it did is it enabled them to create a more dynamic match that they could have for the audience. It wasn't just a bunch of laying around. They could actually incorporate different moves and things like that to create a certain period of time frame. And it made the matches move a lot faster. It made them more interesting. But so a little past here, we're going to say the Gold Dust Trio was the first group to popularize what we refer to now as predetermined matches or modern wrestling. The group consists of Toots Mont, like I said, Ed Strangler Lewis, and Billy Sandow. A little history on Toots Mont. Toots Mont is actually Joseph Raymond Toots Mont. He had a large part in the early promotion of the World Wrestling Federation as well. So this guy, Toots Mont, was actually part of, he's the one that started World Wrestling Federation, that we know today, the WWE. So he was part of, he was also,
he was.
He helped to develop names like Bruno Sammartino, Stu Hart, and Cowboy Bill Watts. So he had a hand
Mm-hmm.
in kind of the guys that we look up to, as like our old school. Wow, the old dudes that brought wrestling forward for everybody else. We look at Bill Watts as the promoter guy. We don't even really think about it. I mean, we do think about him as the wrestler, but it's very far removed for us because of how young we are in comparison. You know, sorry guys, yes, we're a little bit younger than you guys.
Mm-hmm.
um, so he's also credited as the originator of Slam Bang Wrestling, which is an amalgamation of boxing, wrestling, and other styles to make it more interesting for the viewer. Now known as pro wrestling, Ed Strangler, Ed Strangler Lewis, who is also known as Robert Herman Julius Frederick. That's a long name. Ed was he's 4-time world heavyweight champion with over 6,000 matches under his belt. That is a
That's a
lot of
lot.
matches. Yeah, most of which were real shoot contests. He was most famous. He was so famous he could be seen with the likes of boxing great Jack Dempsey and baseball legend Babe Ruth. Jack
Yeah,
Dempsey in his day was kind of like the
he
he
was
would be the Mike
huge.
Tyson of his era. I mean, as far as popularity, anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that's so out of the 6,000 matches that Ed Strangler had, he lost only 32 of them. So
That's
that's
a pretty good record right there.
yeah, so that's showing how tough this guy is. He was a real tough son of a bitch. He was the real deal. And to prove that, he's also one of the guys who trained the likes of Lou Thez. Those who are out there going, who's Lou Thez? Every time you see Stone Cold Steve Austin jump at somebody and drop him to the ground and punch him in the face where he like lays on top of him, it's called the
Mm-hmm.
Thez press. That
Mm-hmm.
he invented that move. And then you got Danny Hodge, which you got to be kind of an old school wrestling fan to know who Danny Hodge and Dick Hutton are. He's also um, one of the guys that trained Gene LaBelle. And if you're wondering who Gene LaBelle is, he's a wrestler, obviously from the old time. But if you ever watch Bryan Danielson, he does what's called the LaBelle lock, which was created by Gene LaBelle. You can look that up also.
Yeah, you can look that up.
Yeah. So now Billy Sandow, he is, if his name seems familiar, it's because you're thinking of Adrian Sandow, but he was a founding member of this promotion, and he helped change the face of the industry in the 1920s. These guys just completely took over. It only took a year. Within a year, it became an industry standard to do the slam bang style of wrestling. They completely took it all over. So these guys, they weren't satisfied with the industry. They combined their forces and they started their own promotion. Um, they're
What
named the
happens?
Gold Dust Trios, actually given credited to them by a book called The Fall Guys, written in 1937 by Marcus Griffin. And he was a sports writer that got into the background and whatever. That's relevant mainly because Jim Cornette, really.
Jim Cornette. Yeah, always.
Well, because so Jim Cornette has all of this old history stuff you can look up. A lot of the information I got from Dave Knows Wrestling on YouTube, and I
Mm-hmm.
also got it from believe it or not, it was Vice TV's Dark Side of the Ring, Jim Cornette's origin of wrestling terminology. Yeah, I know, right? But it was Jim Cornette's origin of wrestling terminology, and
I love
on
Dark
there
Side
he
of the Ring.
pulls out these books and he starts talking about the Gold Dust Trio and a lot of the use of the words like marks, and things like that, and why we have those. So I just thought that was very interesting, and I thought that that would be a good start to the show, is to introduce the Gold Dust Trio, who really introduced our style of wrestling to us in the 1920s and 1930s. I mean, you figure 1940s and 1950s is where you really start hearing, about like Gorgeous George and guys like that. So the progression from this legit hardcore actual alley style, like people got hurt, careers didn't last long wrestling, to the wrestling that we see today with Bruno Sammartino and Lou Thez and all these guys.
All the big WWE legends of their time.
Well, legends of or it's not AEW, but NWA and the AWA and all of these other wrestling promotions.
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well, New Japan was not really considered part of any of this at that time.
And
actually, I don't know a lot about like that's actually something maybe I'll have for the next episode. Is I'll look into Japanese wrestling and when it started, and whether or not it actually has a tie to the Western wrestling or maybe European wrestling.
I have a feeling it doesn't, because they always do a ton of things different, like in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's just very different.
Well, yeah, I mean, their style is different, but they could have looked at it and went like this, and then they made it their own. I don't know, but that's because I'm not as much of a historian. That's why I decided this would be a good thing for us, because we could learn more about. Who was it that said it? I think it might have been Dusty Rhodes. He was talking to wrestlers. He goes, if you actually, I remember Mark Henry had mentioned that he was told this by, I believe it was Dusty Rhodes, that if you really want to be a good wrestler, something to that nature, know its history. And it might even have been Jim Cornette who said it, because Jim Cornette to me is like the ultimate historian when it comes to wrestling anyways,
Yeah, that sounds like Jim Cornette.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back. And then we're going to go ahead and start getting into what happened this week in wrestling. All right. Okay.
Goodbye.
Well, as soon as I figure out where the buttons are.
It's not like it's our first time, bro.
Well, I'm just kidding anyway. All right. We'll be right back.
I'm your host, Maverick Stone.
It's me, Gingerino42.
I'm Romer.
Hey, this is Sassy Lady.
And I'm Jaxus. And we are the Fallout Roundtable. Join us as we explore various topics from the Fallout universe, brought from multiple perspectives. We can be found on your favorite podcatchers, from Spotify to iTunes, or follow us on Twitter at FalloutRTB, or our email, falloutrtb@gmail.com. Be sure to rate, follow, and subscribe. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our little break there. We're going to get into, I don't know, where you want to start with AEW? You want to go ahead and start with Monday Night Raw?
Let's just start with Monday Night Long. Let's just go to the days of the week today.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, if we're going to go to the days of the week, we would start with Friday Night SmackDown. But since, you know what? We're not going to do Friday Night SmackDown this week because we just had a pay-per-view. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
I have some complaints about. I never have complaints with War Games. I love War Games. I'm glad that they brought it up to the main roster and not left it in the dust in NXT.
Well, I'm kind of got mixed feelings in that regard, just because I thought it was really cool that NXT had something that was that dynamic. I mean, because it really, I mean, you figure the first War Games with Undisputed Era, and those guys,
Era.
That was
epic.
Great. That was epic. I mean, just having that experience with those guys.
I watched the full match. It was great.
Yeah.
I watched it over and over.
So now we've got it on its own. Well, see, Survivor Series was like a dead pay-per-view as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, it was dead.
When they kept having like the blue team and the red team thing going on, it was like
the only time that it was really good was when you remember Shane McMahon was general manager of SmackDown at the time, and Kurt Angle was the Raw general manager, and like they like invaded each other. That was the only time that was good. That in the recent era, anyway. Survivor Series in the past has been great. That Survivor Series was when Undertaker debuted. I still listen to that. It was great. I'm not saying the War Games itself was bad, because I thought it was a pretty good, match itself,
Mm-hmm.
But it's there was so much wasted potential that you could have done War Games, Raw versus SmackDown. There's so much wasted potential with it, but at the same time, it was a good match. At the same time,
Well, I enjoyed it. So, I mean, I don't know if I have as many gripes as you had with Survivor Series.
I have many gripes because
my
I
main
expect
gripe
more
would
out
be-
of
my main
WWE
gripe would be
pay-per-views.
where I do kind of agree with so I listen to Cornette like religiously because
Oh, I know you do.
one, he cracks me up, but two,
Mhm.
so he's got this disdain for women's wrestling. It's just which I love women wrestlers. I do agree that they need to have some stature to them, like the Rhea Ripley's and
Yeah, Rhea Ripley's
the Charlotte Flairs,
Mhm.
those. But when you get like the little Rhea, or the little
Mommy.
the little tiny people, like they're so small that they bounce off.
Oh,
of
you
the
mean
other
like
wrestlers.
Alexa Bliss or Liv Morgan?
Liv Morgan kind of is a
Liv
little more
Morgan to me
believable.
is in a group of her own.
Yeah. Well, all right, so he's just got issues.
Okay,
with-
I have issues with women's wrestling, but it's not with WWE, it's with AEW. But we're not going to go to there right at this very moment. I have gripes over the booking and just the storylines that AEW does with their women. They have a great women's roster and with them, and they're just wasting them. Well, we're at Monday Night Raw or Survivor Series, so let us continue. We'll get there.
What did you think of the trash can spot off the top of the War Games thing?
I was it was unexpected. I did not expect something. I expected something big because it's War Games, but I didn't expect that. Io Sky putting a trash can over her head and then going off.
She's got a thing for trash cans. What is this?
I know, I know, and I'm like, bro.
It was
I get it.
It was
but
interesting.
bro,
I do like the fact that she'd use the chain on the outside thing as kind of like a
I loved
the
it.
elevator.
I don't have much gripes for
Charlotte's moonsault off the top. That was cool,
bro.
Yeah. But like I don't know. Sometimes
I did not. The only thing I can gripe about the women's War Games is when everyone was like Becky and Charlotte sort of put away their differences. It sort of reminded me of the when John Moxley and Seth Rollins sort of thing way back then.
Yeah,
it sort of
seemed
reminded me of that, but I'm like, it's War Game, it's Survivor
it didn't
Series.
feel legit.
No, it did not.
It didn't.
That's
feel
what I'm
legit.
trying to get at.
Yeah,
It
that's
did not
what,
feel legit.
It did
whatsoever.
not feel legit. No, it felt like it was too forced.
Yes.
The whole little like Hulk Hogan shake up thing, like, and then she like jumps in for this like hug, like it was a dramatic thing, and then
That's the only problem I have. That's one of the problems.
biggest bitch with the whole War Games thing is having both. Like, don't have the women's War Games match and then write it into like it should have been its own show.
Like it should have when they did Evolution.
Yeah, but they should have done like a women's War Games pay-per-view. And
I get
just
that.
like they just surrounded the whole pay-per-view around the women.
You mean like when they did the Evolution pay-per-view way back in the day?
Yeah, but
I would love to see if they would bring something like that back. I
think the women can do their own pay-per-view. I think
Evolution proves that though.
Yeah, well, not only that, so I think the women should have their own pay-per-view in
at least one.
Well, so all right, so actually, I would like to see it two, yeah, because the Royal Rumble and the War Games, I don't think that they should have the women's matches in the same pay-per-view with the men's because I think it takes away from it in both ways. It hurts the men and the women.
I
I
can
think it
see
should
that.
showcase the women by having their own pay-per-view of the Royal Rumble and War Games. Those are
The
Survivor
Royal
Series.
Rumble's the Royal Rumble, though. That's like their own. That's the thing. That's the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but you
The
could list
Royal
it as you could do a 2-day thing though, just like you do with it. Actually,
WrestleMania is bigger though. That's why they do the 2-day thing.
that's not my point. My point being is that you could actually have 2 pay-per-views that feature just the women.
Are you
On
saying
their-
what they do with NXT Takeover and then they have it the same weekend as like the men's,
Kind of, but
like the main roster?
I would see how that works. I would try it out and see how it works. If it's generating, so think of it this way: like you had 17,000 people there for Survivor Series, right?
About
So-
give or take.
Yeah, it was a little bit under. It was like 16.8, something like that.
Yeah,
16.8. It was-
let's just round it to 17 just for discussion's
for
sake.
2 days. So from Survivor Series and then Monday Night Raw in the same place, they did 32,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's just in perspective. But also by perspective, AEW did like 5,000.
Yeah. AEW pay-per-views lately haven't been that great.
Ouch. Anyway, that's besides the point.
That is beside the point.
So if you were to split up Survivor Series to where it was 2 separate entities, I think you would still have the 17,000 people show up for the one. It would be nice to see exactly how many would show up just for the females version of War Games.
Then you get all those creeps and perverts.
It's wrestling, dude.
I know it's wrestling, but I'm
We're
just
still going to
saying,
get creeps and perverts no matter what when you have females involved.
that is true.
It
That
just
is true.
the way it is. you know.
It's just out there. I just wanted to speak on
But
that.
yeah, I mean, we're dealing with women's wrestling and we're dealing with men in general. So they're
At least it's not
unfortunate-
back in the day when they were mud wrestling, literally.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so we've evolved past that. So I think we've evolved enough where I think the women can hold their own in their own pay-per-view is what I'm basically trying to get at.
What would you name these pay-per-views though?
I wouldn't have changed the name. I wouldn't. No, I would just say the women's. It would be the women's Survivor Series.
I wouldn't like that because it just takes away from Survivor Series.
Or you could
Or
just
like-
call it the women's War Games by itself, just women's War Games. And they would have the War Games match and then maybe a title match and a tag team title match. So it would be enough for about an hour or so. If you think about
Survivor
it,
Series was like 2 or 3 hours though.
yeah, we don't need it to be that long.
Even with Triple H's discussion about, oh, we're doing quality over quantity.
Well, so in the Survivor Series, you could still have regular women's matches,
Yeah.
just not a War Games match. If you were going to have but I think it would be better for the women if they had their own standalone thing.
So what you're saying is you would want a women's pay-per-view or 2 of them based on the fact that why don't we just throw Hell in a Cell in this too? Because you're doing
Are they really
a
going to
women's
do
War Games.
Yeah, but are they really going to do a women's Hell in a Cell match every single year?
No.
I mean, they may or may not, but I
They
think
may, because we all know that they're not going to do Hell in a Cell next year because Triple H is trying to get rid of a lot of these gimmicky pay-per-views.
which would be actually a good thing. Like
I'm not saying that I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it would be a way to bring back some of these pay-per-views, but at the same time, that would be really bad for the product. Also,
I would just leave it as a women's War Games and women's Royal Rumble.
I would probably rename it kind of like how they did Evolution.
Yeah,
Name
but
it
you
like
want it to
Evolution, and then something else, like
Or-
a
or-
Retribution.
or have Evolution back and then put the War Games match inside the Evolution.
I would be fine with that. I'd be absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, actually.
That would
Anyway.
make more sense than your idea. Just saying.
Thanks, buddy.
I am on fire today.
Okay. So what was your biggest takeaway from the Survivor Series?
Randy
That
Orton.
was
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. So how did you
Orton.
feel about so some people have said that Randy Orton's like introduction was kind of placated because of CM Punk. Do you feel like he was kind of like screwed out of his moment?
I feel, I feel he was screwed out of his moment because he had been out for God, how long? I don't even know how long, but it was a long time. And then he comes Survivor Series, and then oops, at the very end,
Do you think
CM Punk just waltzes
at the
out
same
there.
time? Do you think Randy cares?
Nah, I don't think he cares either.
No, like
No.
I just don't, because I mean Randy cares that he came back, and he cares that about
I
being
could see
with
a
the
Randy
audience.
versus CM Punk match though in the
Yeah,
future.
no, I could definitely see that happening in the future. But at the same time, like I don't think that Randy's like, oh well, I didn't get my pop. He gets his pops every week.
Yeah, he gets his pops anyway. So
Yeah. So,
but if you heard the crowd during Randy Orton's entrance, he gets his pops.
yeah, I mean,
He doesn't matter. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. But
No, I don't think he cares either.
yeah,
I
I
do
just
got
think
some things to say about CM Punk's return.
well, so
Mm.
CM Punk's return. So I thought it was cool. Me personally, I was happy to see CM Punk, and I kind of expected.
I was
I didn't
happy.
expected it, but I didn't expect it right then. When it happened, I was legitimately surprised to see CM Punk, walk out there. But at the same time,
He just walked out there, just strutted it like a style pony, though.
Well, that's kind of what he was meant to do, man. He was just to shake up the crowd. That's what Triple H wanted him to do.
Well, then don't put him at the very end of the show as the show's going off the air. Then
that was the point, though, man. That's Triple H, dude. He loves to do that kind of thing.
Don't do that. Do it like in the middle of the show, or
But it keeps you watching the show to the end.
But we didn't know CM Punk was going to return, though.
And that's a good point, But that's the same thing he did on Monday Night Raw, though. He made you wait till the end.
That is true. That is true. I cannot.
And he announced it all throughout the episode of Monday Night Raw. He's going to be
Monday Night Raw. Yeah, that was different because he was back already.
Right, but the whole swervy kind of feeling like, oh wow, it was since you didn't have anticipation, let's go with surprise.
I mean, there are rumors out there that they want to keep this a secret because of Tony Khan and AEW wanting to spoil something.
Wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, who cares? AEW couldn't do anything if they tried. They would have to get a real tank and drive it through the wall instead of like WCW days when Triple H and the guys rolled up at the
We are the DX. Open up in there.
Yeah, he would have to actually go get an actual Abrams and drive it through the wall. So
drive it.
Other than that, there's not much he could do. No matter how many.
There was not either that or an army of lawyers were going to come after him.
Right. So my big thing though was the elephant in the room, so to speak. Seth Rollins losing his shit.
Yes, I saw this. I'm like,
if you were actually that pissed off at CM Punk and you wanted to run up and whoop his ass like you were pretending to, Michael Cole's the guy that can hold you back.
Yeah, really? Yeah, that was the whole thing. that was the whole thing. Why is Michael Cole there?
Well, Michael Cole's there because of the end of the show, and
I know it's the end of the show.
But at the same time, Michael Cole is not the smallest individual in the world, but is Michael Cole really going to hold you back if you want to whoop somebody?
Well, yeah.
Michael Cole's not going to hold me back.
Michael Cole's not going to hold any of us back.
No,
I mean maybe a kid or something.
Yeah, well, toddler.
Toddler. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
but then
kids know where to hit people.
And then Rhea Ripley's little flip off thing, and then I was like,
God,
what's the big deal? Like, and and then again, we are not behind the scenes. We are not in the locker rooms. We don't have a clue. All we go is by what we hear, as fans.
Or what we see.
But at the same time, I have never seen CM Punk do anything but be gracious to people when it's like a media scrim or anything of that nature. I've never seen the, absolute a-hole side. Now, is the a-hole side there? Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, it's always there. It's CM Punk.
it is, but at the same time, how much of it is the kayfabe element, and how much of it is him just being a jerk? Because there are wrestlers that have spoken about him being a jerk, and then there's other wrestlers that swear up and down that he's always been nothing but gracious and friendly and stuff. So there,
He's got his friends.
it's just rumor and
happens.
conjecture, and a lot of it. And what this does by Triple H and him mending fence, because in reality, Triple H never really understood where the animosity came from. If you were to ask, he was asked multiple times in old interviews and things like, "What's CM Punk's deal with you?" And he's like, "I have no idea. I don't get it." He never did get it. And and so going forward, you're looking at these two guys. They mended fence, like Triple H said. It's 10 years later. They've both grown, and if you haven't grown, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So I see this as an opportunity for CM Punk to kind of flip the bird to AEW and all of the crap talk that came from that end. You got Jack Perry, and that is his name.
Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah. I mean, these guys all had something to say, and they're all part of the same little clique.
Yeah. It was Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, Jack Perry. They all had beef with him. Actually, no. According to our favorite show on there, Dark Side of Wrestling of the Ring, apparently when CM Punk first entered the building, he didn't have no problem with nobody, and no one had any problem with him until Hangman Adam Page created a ruckus. That's when he became a ruckus.
That's funny because Hangman Adam Page just attacked Swerve Strickland at a indie show. Which I'm sure was all part of the whole.
I'm sure it's part of the whole bit.
But I found that kind of funny you were mentioning that. I'm like, I just saw a video where I don't remember where Swerve Strickland was at, but he was doing an indie show, and Adam Page attacked him there in the middle of the ring. I was like, oh wow, okay, cool, that's a thing. But so Survivor Series, was there anything else that really stood out that you enjoyed?
I mean the
men's match.
The men's match was pretty good.
The men's match was pretty good. The only thing is I'm kind of with Jim Cornette on this one. They need to take out the furniture. Like, you don't need all the swords and tables, and to me it becomes messy, it becomes convoluted, and it takes away from the actual wrestling. If they were
I can see that, but you also got to see where you got to get a pop out of something.
Well,
you just don't use the two.
It's less is more, is what I'm getting at. So
no, I get it, but
you don't need to throw in all these items. You can actually get some, shady manager or something to stick something through the fence. You know what I mean? I think a pair of brass knuckles slid into the ring, or a
title belt,
or a title belt or something like that slid into the ring while nobody's paying attention, kind of thing, and is much more effective than 15 chairs already in the ring and people just beating the crap out of each other.
I
think it's just
sometimes
death,
15
man.
chair shots isn't that bad, though.
Yeah. No, but
when Baron Corbin, Constable Corbin got his get-ups at the end way back when, that was satisfying.
Well, and so it's just, to me, that all of the matches we have either have a ladder, a table, or a chair. Like,
I mean, recently, yeah, you're right, but
it's like everything does. So it's just, I think that the matches should be more creative in the element of actual wrestling. Yeah. Maybe.
We also need Roman Reigns to wrestle more, but we aren't going to see either
well,
one.
So
probably.
I understand the concept behind what Roman's doing, though. I mean, that to me, he's keeping it fresh, and he's keeping himself.
We never see him. He's turning into Brock Lesnar.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'm not
he's
saying
making
that's
himself
bad.
an attraction more than he is anything else. And the thing is I think Seth Rollins put it best. He was saying that it's become more of Roman Reigns is the title as opposed to the title being around Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's become that way. And in a way, I guess, Seth's point of view of that could be a good thing, but at the same time, you've got Seth, who's like the workhorse, who's constantly trying to, he's doing the old John Cena, all comers, let's go. And that makes sense. I mean, John Cena did that for years. He would call people out himself as the champion, and he defended the title constantly, as opposed to Roman Reigns, who's defending the title as needed. But what is getting old is the interference finishes.
Yeah, he needs to win clean.
At least one or two matches.
Yeah, he needs to win clean.
What he
Get
needs
back
is
to clean.
we need to see him struggle. If he's going to hang on to the title,
I mean, we did see him struggle a little bit against Kevin Owens during that.
he did, but they still did the same thing though on the finish.
No, I agree. I feel like that they should have had him beat Kevin clean.
Well, and I think what they're doing is they're trying to protect like Kevin.
Oh no, I get that too.
Yeah,
because Kevin Owens is a great wrestler.
Yeah, they could have done something else. There's no at this point. I don't think there's anything bad by losing to Roman Reigns clean. Long as the match
at this point in his reign,
yeah.
How many days it's been?
I don't even know anymore.
4 years now.
Like I said, I have no clue. It's well in the thousands. We know that much.
Yeah, I think it's at 1,600 days. Hold on.
You're gonna look it up real quick.
I am gonna look this up.
We must know.
We must know.
But have you noticed, like Survivor Series, as you're looking that up, Survivor Series had none of the big names.
No,
it was all, I don't want to say lower card, but it is kind of lower card individuals in
There's
all these matches.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah, no, but it still turned out to be a very good pay-per-view. There's some things here and there that you kind of scratch your head and go, why did that happen? But at the same time, it was a pretty solid pay-per-view. I didn't really have many complaints, other than the fact that I don't really like the idea of having two. I don't like the idea of having a women's War Games match and then the men's War Games match like right after that. To me, it kind of takes it. You're watching these little women bouncing around, and the brutality, I guess, isn't at a high enough level. That's what I would have to say. If the women's matches were bloody, like I would say, like brain function.
Let me do some math here, because they're showing. I'm on WWE.com right now looking.
Well, yeah. So we remember when the dentist got her face busted open and she was bleeding everywhere, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I'm like, okay. Why?
Well, so that being a gnarly knockout, drag out. I mean, same thing with Thunder Rosa. She got in a pretty bloody match, and same thing with.
It was a great match, though.
Yeah, well, and then same thing with Ruby Soho. They've had some pretty gnarly matches. Now, mind you, Charlotte Flair's had pretty decent matches. Where I think somebody should have got busted open. That's basically where I was going.
Someone should have gotten busted open.
Just a little bit, a little bit of color, man. I mean.
But that's the WWE way, though. I think it's PG-13 now, though. So I think they could add the blood, but they don't do it.
Well, so and I understand you don't want to overdo it, but at the same time, you got to create. If everything looks like it doesn't hurt, it kind of takes away from the matches, So every once in a while, somebody needs to bust a face, or I mean. Mind you, it does happen for real sometimes. Like I remember when, oh my God, what's his old name? Castagnoli.
I know who you're talking about.
Cesaro, when he busted when he hit his tooth on the turnbuckle and it like took his tooth out, and he's like, rah, 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 and his mouth was all bleeding and crap. That was pretty legit. But
it was awesome.
Yeah, but that moment is something you'll never forget. Those moments. They just so happen to have blood involved. There's got to be it's violence. It's a sport of violence. So if you don't have any violence or any kind of, color had, mind you, I'm talking about like taking chairs and stuff out, but they need a hard way, man. You know, somebody's head needs to split open in a fight, or
Are you talking about, what was it? What pay-per-view was it? I think it was Backlash when Kurt Angle was trying to put Shane McMahon through
the glass, and he couldn't.
Yeah,
and he had to do it.
yeah,
like
and
three
he ended up
times.
bleeding and concussing and whatever. You talking about something like that?
Well, I don't want somebody to get hurt per se. I would have been happier if like McMahon would have gone through the glass with the first throw.
Yeah, apparently they put it was fiberglass and not sugar glass like it was supposed to
Here's
be.
a perfect example, actually. Do you remember when Braun Breaker speared I think it was Carmelo through the wall?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so that was like, wow, those moments like that, the women need to start having certain situations like that happen in their matches. Mind you, they may not be able to do it with the same kind of level of dynamics, but
I mean, like break a door down or something.
Well,
in the cage.
You're in. Well, they're not going to collapse the ring like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
but
Brock
like,
and
their matches don't have that same kind of boom pow ouch. I don't know how to put it any other way. It's just they're it's like a little sissy slap fight, even when they're trying to be tough.
Yeah, we need Alexa Bliss back because
or actually get some real good mat grappling going on. Like let Natty actually do what she can do to one of these chicks.
Yeah, going down into the dungeon.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Natty was to do the same things as like,
when she was a champion back in the day.
Yeah, but same things Butch does, like actual grappling, joint manipulation, stuff like that.
Or what
Shayna Baszler does.
Yeah.
Shayna's like Shayna to me, even she's like an MMA, but I don't care about that. As far as I'm concerned, Shayna Baszler, let her loose. Let her win. Like
they need to get her back. She needs to go back down to NXT. She's doing no good on the main roster.
Well, she's not doing any good on the main roster because of the writers, not because of her.
No, I'm not.
You don't
saying
need to
that.
bump her down to NXT to do that.
Well,
what
you
need
see
to do
Baron
is actually
Corbin
get her
getting bumped down, and
Baron Corbin did that on his own. He wanted to reinvent himself.
No,
I don't
you're
think
right
Shayna
there,
really
but
needs to reinvent herself. What I think needs to happen with Shayna is that Shayna needs to get somebody behind her that's going to push her into an actual legitimate storyline that's going to be compelling enough where her brutality, which is ironic considering our belt holder, screams about brutality and all that. Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley, I think, could be one hell of a really good,
I would love to see that match.
And just don't dumb down Shayna to make Rhea look good. I think just let Shayna kick her ass, but that's the thing. It's like, but
you can't, you gotta, they're going to protect Rhea Ripley though, as long as the Judgment Day is a thing.
If you kick Rhea's ass, mind you, this will be a babyface turn. If you kick Rhea's ass badly in the match and Rhea still comes out on top as the winner, like that's
you're like
fighting
through away a Judgment Day win.
No, not sleeping away. She gets her ass beat bad and she comes back hard and like a legitimate back and forth kind of fight where they both like suffer and show, struggle. That's the thing is there's no struggle. Like you don't get to see the struggle in the matches like you used to see. It's really disconcerting that these matches, it looks like everybody's helping each other do moves. Let me help you flip over. And then they like add these other overly complicated moves to where it's obvious that they're helping the other person do the move. If it's obvious that the other person's helping you do the move, it's not a good move.
Nope.
It just doesn't make any damn sense. It's like some of these
looks good on
finishers.
TV though.
Yeah, it's just like some of the finishers you see people do. It's like that doesn't
hurt. Shock and awe most of the time with them. A lot of those don't do nothing.
I mean, a clothesline where somebody flips in the air and does a 360, that looks like it hurts, man. Like the clothesline from hell, things that like when you first saw the rock bottom, you were like, that looks like it might actually kind of hurt a little bit. you know,
might actually hurt.
or a power bomb, like an actual power bomb, like
Or a pop-up power bomb.
Well, so like, the pop-up power bomb looks cool when Kevin Owens does it. I like
Yeah. He does it great.
Yeah, but like Batista's power bomb where he would slam him down and then he'd roll back, like it was an added dramatic effect that actually made it seem like it was just so devastating. And then you look at Wardlow, when Wardlow does a power bomb, he like stamps him in place. Like, and that looks like, I mean, just I don't know. I like
there are people there are wrestlers out there that do moves better. Like no one can, like Edge or Adam Copeland, as he's now called now, did a great spear. Goldberg does a great spear.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then
It's that debate of who does it better.
Right now, I'd say Braun Breaker. Right now, I would have to say Braun Breaker.
Okay, fine, but I would Goldberg is up there though.
Goldberg's old news, man. I don't even care.
I
wouldn't hurt my feelings if I never saw Goldberg again.
You're next.
Yeah, no, it's just he's a fossil, dude.
WWE used to just stamp him out there.
It's just like the Undertaker. I love the Undertaker to death, but I never want to see him in a ring, other than to say hi. I don't need.
I get why he comes out as the. I have a gripe about this, but I understand it at the same time. I have a gripe that he always comes out the American Badass, but I understand why the reason behind doing that now. I understand it. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but I understand it. When he always comes out as the American Badass version of the Undertaker, instead of like the demented
the Undertaker.
Yeah, the Undertaker.
I don't know, man. I just
think he should put on that hat just one more time, man. One more, or just
I don't think we need the matches though. It's just like with Stone Cold. Stone Cold, man, he got cut short, so it was cool to see him get into the ring again. Honestly,
it's great to see him.
I don't want to see him wrestle anymore. I'm happy seeing him come out and have beers, stun people every once in a while, but have a full-on match, he doesn't need to.
Awesome stun Vince McMahon does.
Yeah, or he just falls flat. But
he falls flat on his face.
Now, Rock still got his body together. He is
John Cena's got it too.
And John Cena, yeah, these guys' bodies are still capable. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of cool with that. But they're still a nostalgia act. I just want to see these new guys, and
I understand
for the most part, and some of the veterans who, like, I mean, if you think about it, Randy Orton's a veteran, as long lasting.
He is an old guy now, apparently.
But at the same time, he can go.
Oh yeah, he can go. He'll probably go until he's 80.
Dude, Sheamus is one of the oldest wrestlers that's there, and he's still smashing fools.
I feel like Randy Orton's going to turn into the next Ric Flair. How he's going in his 80s.
I don't know. I'm happy to see him. He did seem a little bit stiff, though.
I contract that to ring rust.
Well, I contract that to back surgery.
That too.
I mean, he just had fusion surgery. I think his style is going to change just because even though he looks stiff for him, he's still smoother than most people. So it didn't really matter. It's just I noticed he seemed like his movements are just a little bit stiffer than normal. It also could be due to the added bulk of muscle that he's put on, because he did.
I did look at that. That was great.
He did bulk up, boy. Survivor Series. Not, I mean, it was worth watching. It was cool. I think we can leave that where it's at. CM Punk coming out and all that was great.
Yeah, especially in Chicago of all places.
Let's go ahead and jump to Monday Night Raw. So,
Monday Night Rock.
Monday Night Raw started out with Randy Orton, and he, that was cool because he got to do his kind of welcome back promo kind of thing.
Daddy's back.
I was going to get to that. But
he missed time. It should have been Daddy's home.
Well, and I like he should have, but everybody else said it.
It was a great line.
Everybody
either way.
else said it for him anyway. So, but like, so he was mentioning receipts for the bloodline.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So he's like, he's still got the bloodline in his sights. That being said, there's something that happens later on in Monday Night Raw that kind of bothered me. Did you watch Monday Night Raw? Did you?
I watched I sort of did. I did.
You watched the highlights or whatever?
I watched the YouTube videos.
Okay.
So I think I know where you're getting at.
So he has a conversation in the backstage about halfway through the show with Jey Uso.
Yeah.
And they're in the back.
I know what you're talking about.
And so Jey Uso's kind of, placating, hey man, I'm going to come to you first before you come to me. And he's, hat in hand kind of situation. And, Randy's like, I've been watching you. I've been watching how you've been trying to like make, show the others that you've turned a new leaf, blah, blah, blah. And the whole conversation kind of bothered me because he's talking about the receipts for all the members of the bloodline. He made a point.
I feel like that's just a shoot though.
Well, in reality, to me, I think that Jay still got an RKO coming to him.
oh, I still think he does too.
It's Randy Orton. He'll RKO anybody. He
RKOs anybody. If you remember that one thing where he basically RKOs every single member of whatever roster he was on. You remember that?
Yeah.
He RKO'd everyone in sight.
So anyway,
good episode,
as he's up there talking about the receipts, here comes Rhea Ripley. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, why are you coming out, Rhea? I didn't understand her whole point of coming out.
I never understood it either, but it's the Judgment Day. And
well, the Judgment Day just
at this point
is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. So she comes out there and she's kind of toying with him at first. And then he started the whole mommy does this, mommy does that, mommy blah, blah, blah. Guess what, Rhea? Daddy's back. And the crowd loses their marbles. And they thought that was hilarious.
Their mind. But my whole thing is that, my whole thing with those two words is that it should have said daddy's home.
I just wonder where they're going with it, because right after that happens, Rhea gets this all indignant looking face, starts yelling at him. Now you've beat, the Judgment Days, your enemy. And then here comes Dom and JD McDonough from behind. And both of them working together couldn't do a damn thing to him.
At first they did.
They beat him into the corner a little bit, and he just grabs JD and just launches him into. Man, that turnbuckle was pow. That was a good slap by JD there. But
yeah, he was.
And then they just bounce out of the ring, and then they split, and then it goes to break. Okay.
JD earns himself another RKO.
JD's kind of.
I feel like he's turning into the punching bag, what Dom used to be.
Well, he's going to be the punching bag because he's the newest member, But I wonder where this is going to go down the road, because when this starts to fall apart, is JD McDonough and Finn Balor going to kind of buddy, or is something going to happen between Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Damian Priest, where kind of like Sami Zayn and Jay did, when Jay didn't trust Sammy and all that, and then they had this dynamic where they became real tight. And then, if you remember right, Sammy and Jimmy were really tight.
Yep.
And then it switched. I wonder if that's going to happen with JD McDonough, where like he's going to be real tight with them, and then it's going to switch over and be like, him and Finn Balor are going to start going to odds, and then it's going to be Damian Priest and JD McDonough kind of tag teaming and stuff together. I don't know, because I actually like the dynamic of not JD McDonough, but Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest.
I do like it, but he can't get a darn word out.
That's going to fade off. I seriously, I think that's just going to fade off over time. But
I think it's funny. So.
I think it's funny, but actually at the same time, maybe it won't fade off. That would be, if he can hold that kind of heat, that's actually kind of good. Not to mention, if Damian Priest and him end up as let's say Judgment Day breaks up, Damian Priest and
fall apart.
But let's say Damian Priest and Dom team up as a tag team for a while. think about the fact that they both speak Spanish, so they would be able to have these, segments where they're having conversations in Spanish and things like that. It's good for bringing
Spanish
light to the Hispanic people. It gives their culture kind of a push out there for those. It's something good for the Hispanic culture to have, some of their own, let their language be put out there more. Because most of the time it's just like one little sentence or this or that. But these guys could be like sitting in the back having a conversation in Spanish, and then of course the cameras come to them, and then they can speak in English. But it would give our Hispanic listeners kind of an insight, because they could understand what they were talking about, as opposed to like us white people who have absolutely no clue because we don't know Spanish for shit. They could get some info that we wouldn't get, or me. I just think it would be kind of cool to have like little nuggets like that, put
Yeah.
in. I think that would be kind of fun. Anyway, so after that, they went to break. They came back after the break. We get DIY and Alpha Academy. What do you think of Akira Tozawa and Otis as a tag team?
I'm still I don't have enough information on that one. I think it's great that they're including Tozawa.
I thought it was hilarious. Because all right, so think of it in the aspect of not serious.
Oh yeah, no, it's not serious at all.
No. I mean, when you've got, why is my brain shutting off? Gable. When you've got Gable and Otis together, it's a serious tag team.
It is totally serious tag team.
Now, but when you add Akira Tozawa and Otis together, you are creating comedy magic right there. You know what I'm saying? Tozawa is funny as hell. He doesn't even have to try with the little dance he's been doing and the ruffle shuffle. Some of those moments were really funny. I mean, so with the match between DIY, I kind of am on the fence with DIY. Now mind you, don't get me wrong, I love DIY in NXT. On the main roster, Gargano.
It doesn't feel right.
No, Ciampa was on a roll. Like, they should have kept pushing Ciampa as a singles competitor. I understand that Johnny. I keep wanting to call him Johnny Same Face.
Johnny Wrestling over there. Johnny
Yeah,
Gargano.
Well, Jim Cornette refers to him as Johnny Same Face, so it's just, and I get it, because Johnny Gargano is just so blasé to me. He bores the crap out.
Yeah,
of me.
after he got done with the Way.
Yeah, well, even the way bored me, man. I mean, it was okay. It was
it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, it elevated
Indy Hartwell.
More importantly, it
elevated Candice LeRae. Austin Theory.
Thank you. I don't know why my brain was shutting off on Austin.
I was naming members of the Way because I followed the Way.
Oh, I get where you're going there.
Yeah,
that was nice. So
puns. I love puns.
It's very punny. So yeah, the match was not that exciting. It just kind of happened. It
was there.
Yeah, and
I hope
DIY
give
came
Chad
away.
Gable another chance. Give him a belt for once, please.
I think that he's going to actually.
He needs one.
He needs a singles competitor belt, though, and not a tag team belt. I
agree. Like, actually get rid of Gunther.
I don't think Gable's going to be the one to take that off of Gunther, but I do think
if you've seen those matches between Gable and Gunther, though, those are some great matches.
I think what Gable's match should be is actually to take the U.S. title off of why is my brain shut? Yes, Logan Paul. I
don't think he should do that, though.
You think Logan Paul should hold on to it for real?
No, I'm saying Logan. I'm saying someone else should dethrone.
I don't
Logan
know
Paul.
If you're going to elevate Gable, which is mentally where my goal is to elevate Gable. You got to remember, he's not a big statured guy.
Oh no, he's
So
not big at all.
No, so he's not.
He has a wrestler body.
Yeah, but I don't see him doing the Rey Mysterio and going to the top of the game and holding the big belt. At least not yet. But
No, I don't think he'll ever get the big belt. I think
probably
he'll
not. No, he'll be
mid-card belts.
That's why I'm saying give him the opportunity to shock the world and take the belt off of. Why am I not
Logan Paul?
Thank you.
Think
What is going
Prime.
on? Drink Prime? Is that what you're doing?
Drink Prime.
Drink Prime. It'll fix your brain. I'm sorry, Logan Paul. And I'm not doing it because I have anything against Logan Paul. Actually, I think he is absolutely amazing.
Oh, I think he's an amazing wrestler. Just the ones that he's done. He's impressed me.
He's very much impressed me, even more than
Bad Bunny.
This is great. You're like sharing my brain. It's awesome.
Yeah. Except I thought his match with Damian Priest was pretty good though.
No, don't get me wrong. Bad Bunny did a really good job, but Logan Paul is on a whole nother level. Like, dude, I
think he could have beaten Roman Reigns, to be honest. If
that way that match
chance
was going when he was wrestling him, very possible. But that's the thing,
it was very
so believable. He makes himself so very believable.
The only match we all knew Roman Reigns was going to come out of that.
Of course,
top of that. We knew that.
The only match where I feel like there was kind of a is when him and Ricochet got into it. That
because they're going off.
That table spot was bad, man. That table spot was bad. I feel like they did that. I feel like they did that based on the. You remember when they did a double springboard against you, basically canceled each other out. Yeah, I think it was Royal Rumble last year. I don't remember. I just know that they had to have a match, but
and then they had to get the announcer involved. I'm like, don't do that. No.
Sorry, folks. Yes, I know we were supposed to be recapping Monday Night Raw, but we do drift, and you're going to have to get used to that because we're just knuckleheads, and we love wrestling, and you guys love wrestling, so maybe this will work out. Anyway,
I guess it's AEW time now.
Well, I'm still trying to get through Monday Night Raw.
I mean, we don't have to go through you don't have to go through it hour by hour. You just got to, the good, bad, the ugly.
So real quick, let's actually finish the point. Otherwise, we're gonna totally lose it. So DIY, they get the win, and then right after that, they are going against the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers, I wanted to talk about because so they beat DIY. It was not an exciting match at all. But after that, Imperium comes out, and they're wrestling with Imperium. Julius Creed's strength is impressive.
It's incredible.
He double plexes both members, and he's done this multiple times in NXT with other people. Dude, this guy is impressive. Julius Creed is a machine. Now Brutus, okay, I'm not going to knock him either, but Julius is impressive as hell. I do not like their finish, the Brutus bomb thing. I just think it's kind of lame. It's Brutus where he jumps off the top rope. Drops.
I've seen it many times in NXT.
It's just, I don't know. It's like a cannonball into a pool. It's kind of dumb. I don't know.
Sort of like an inverted shield bomb or whatever.
Yeah, the Creed brothers are very one-dimensional, though. I would like to see them get into some sort of actual story.
Yeah, it's the Creed brothers kind of remind me of AOP.
Yeah. I mean, where they just kind of
they're just there.
We're here. Yeah, we're just there. Yeah.
After what they did in NXT, and I feel that's the main issue with NXT stars coming up to the main roster, is that they're just there now. They're
well, and you got to give them a chance to get their feet wet. So they did get the matches under, and what they need to do is get into a story, something where it's going to create some depth. And that's what's not been happening with a lot of these guys is they're not getting stories. There's no depth.
I feel like they should do a
Did you see the backstage segment with Damian Priest where he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I messed up." Da, da, da.
Yeah, from Survivor Series loss.
Yeah, it was really stupid.
I thought it was really dumb. I feel like he's on his way out.
What are you thinking about Nakamura? So Cody Rhodes was in the middle of the ring and he was talking, and in the middle of his talk, Nakamura comes up on the screen and he rattles off some crap. And then
Japanese.
Cody turns around and he gets sprayed in the face, and then Nakamura's like setting him up. So there's going to be a match between Nakamura and Cody, but like,
I think it's going to be a good match. But
the
build-up's got to be there, though.
Well, that's just it. It's like, I'm just not feeling this shit from him now. Like
Nakamura, after they reverted back from his old, reverted back from.
I mean,
his
I
old
get
team.
the aggression level and stuff like that, but like,
I feel like they're just doing it because of the Great Muta, though. You remember when the Great Muta went in to the Hall of Fame last year?
Yeah. But it's just
because he never did the spit.
Well, it lacks. It's just lacking. It's so blah.
It's red.
I didn't say blood. I said blah, boring. It just.
I know.
It's not exciting. Me, I don't know.
It was an Oscar thing. It should have stayed an Oscar thing.
Yeah, I agree. It should have been one wrestler's thing, not four wrestlers' things.
Oscar did a great job with it, and she still does it.
And there's so many breaks in Monday Night Raw. It's like right after that Nakamura thing, it was another break. Right after that break, then you got a recap of Survivor Series where the pop was so the pop was so massive. Bully Ray referred to it like being the World Series of soccer loud as far as the pop from Survivor Series for CM Punk.
Yeah, I could understand that.
So
no one was expecting him at all at Survivor Series.
They do another break. They come back. Rollins is in the ring, and then they start chanting CM Punk while Rollins is in the ring, and he gets pissed off. He's like, "Okay, come on, bring it on." He acts like it doesn't bother him, but it bothers the hell out of him. But
I believe it bothers the hell out of him.
So basically, he shit on CM Punk right then, and then Drew McIntyre comes out and shows up, right? And
I don't know what's going on with Drew right now.
So Drew walks up to Rollins, and he's like, trying to get himself set up for another match. Well, that's not going to happen, at least not that fast. And he, Rollins explains that to him, and he's actually kind of okay with it at first until he asks who his opponent is. And then
he was cool about it, and then he heard
Jey Uso. And then he just lost it.
Gets a headbutt to the face.
That was awesome.
It was funny.
I like what they're doing with Drew right now.
I hope he signs another contract because his contract's up in April.
Yeah, he's going to, dude. There's no reason for him to go anywhere else. And they're actually doing some good work with him right now. If they keep this kind of, mercenary element to him, I think that'll be cool.
I like the mercenary element where he's just there to cause chaos, but he needs
to actually get into a belt chase and get wrapped up again.
Yeah, so we can have his moment like he did, like he wanted to against Lesnar.
So I want him to not be able to take Rollins and it turn out bad for him. And what I want is, this is my own little selfish want here. I want him to be just pissed off every time he turns around. He can't get to and it becomes a big deal on the show. Like, this is his story, how every time he tries to go for the belt, just something gets in it. Not that he loses the match where he fails at getting the belt. He never gets to have the match. And that keeps happening to him all the way up until Cody Rhodes finishes his story. Because what I want to see is Drew McIntyre come and whoop the shit out of Cody Rhodes after that and take the belt off him. And I hope it's a Money in the Bank kind of thing that happens like a year from now. You know what I mean? Like,
Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes finally ends the 1,798-day reign of Roman Reigns.
Possibly. No,
I hope, because at this point, those writers with Roman Reigns' reign, it's never funny. It's always funny when I have to say that, but
they've
sort of backed themselves in a corner.
They're gonna have to pull the trigger on
It's gonna have to be at WrestleMania.
Oh,
It has to
I
be
was
at Mania.
I was hoping you were going to say LA Knight and like finish my thought, but they need to pull
LA
the trigger
Knight,
on it.
I haven't seen him lately though.
Well, so they need to pull the trigger on LA Knight, at least to a certain degree. I think honestly, I would actually have LA Knight take the belt off of Rollins.
I could see that.
I
could
would do
see
that.
and I would be okay with it.
I would be okay
would
with
be
it,
okay
and
with
I
it.
think that it would help. It would help move things along. It would get the belt off of Rollins, and it would put somebody who can elevate Monday Night Raw, because that's what they need to do right now, is actually get Monday Night Raw a little pumped up, a little heavier. Mind you, I think LA Knight is the guy that can do that, but by doing that, they start getting the belt back into a rotation.
No, I get that.
You know what I mean?
That
Like,
rotation
put the belt
is
on him,
great.
give him a 3-month reign, a 3-month, maybe a 2 pay-per-view reign.
I would like
Or
to see. I would love him to go.
Get him to WrestleMania.
Yeah, get him to WrestleMania. Let's
Yeah.
say he wins the belt at Royal Rumble.
Well,
no,
that's a short reign.
that is a really short reign.
Yeah, maybe have
trying
him
to
win
think.
it. Maybe have him win it at WrestleMania. Have him
Yeah.
win the Royal Rumble and have him go after Seth.
Yeah, but if you think about it, though,
But they want to do it. They're going to do the CM Punk thing. They're going to pull the trigger on that.
yeah, because it's CM Punk.
Yeah, so they're going to pull the trigger on that. And
I would
CM Punk's
I would
good.
rather see CM Punk go go after a mid card first and then go up from there.
They're not going to do that with him.
I know
No.
they're not going to do that
No.
with them, but I'm just saying they should to get him back in the groove.
I just think that I don't think they're going to have him in regular rotation. I think they're going to make him an attraction.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah,
and I'm like that's just going to destroy everything about him.
It depends. It can be done. They just got to be careful how they do it. And if they do that, they could have him go up against Roman Reigns and lose.
Yeah.
And what that would do is it would help Roman Reigns reach that pinnacle of being able to beat Hulk Hogan's record.
Is it Hogan's record? What's Hogan's record right now?
I'm not sure, but I know it's so there's 3. And
It's
actually,
Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan,
and
Damien Sandow.
not Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow's no.
Who am I thinking of then? Who's the one who's second? Is it Bruno Sammartino?
No, it's the really blasé guy. I can't remember his damn name right now because I can't.
Buddy Rogers?
No. There's so many people
Bob
right
Backlund.
now. There you go, Bob Backlund. I'm like, so Bob Backlund's reign. Now there was an interruption in Bob Backlund's reign, but it was done in Japan, so they don't count it.
They don't count that, which is weird.
Yeah, because I think it was Antonio Inoki beat him for the title, and that title reign was never accepted.
It was never officially vindicated by the WWF at that time.
Are you reading that?
No.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, so I'm not sure where he falls in. I want to say Hogan's the next one, though. I think Hogan's number 3. I think Hogan's number 3, and then Backlund is 2, and then obviously Martino's 1. It could be backwards, though. I could have those.
I know Bruno Sammartino
held that title for like 8 years.
Yeah, God, how long he held that thing?
And then he lost the title.
But that's because he was like, give it to somebody else.
But then he took the title back.
Yeah, they Vince McMahon gave it back to him. Senior gave it back to him.
Yeah,
when he knew he was good and back.
So
Bruno Sammartino was his guy.
So after Randy's match with Dom, which it was an okay match. It wasn't super exciting. I mean, it was all right. That's all I can say. I skipped past Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They had a match with
that
Natty
title
and
just needs
Tegan.
to go away.
The women's tag team titles?
Yes, I'm sorry, it does
Why?
because it's doing nothing.
Well, you got to put it
It's
on the right
not-
people and create a story.
The
It's
only
not the
time
ti-
it was good was when it was on
Nia Jax and Shayna
no
Baszler.
no
Or are you talking about before that?
before that.
So when Bailey and
Yeah,
Sasha had
the
it?
role models or whatever.
Bailey and Sasha.
Yeah, that's when those were good.
Okay. Well, that happens with a lot of title reigns. It doesn't mean the title needs to go away. It just means that they need to do
Well,
something.
recently it hasn't been good though.
Well, that's when you that's the fault of the writers, not the belt. The belt
It's
didn't
kind of
make
like what they
anything.
did with the 24/7. Okay, I agree. The
24/7 title
24/7
should have never existed.
They
ever.
should have just brought back the
Hardcore title.
the hardcore title, and just
Yeah,
did
the
it.
hardcore title, I like that one because you could just whoop. The only problem with that title is the 24/7 title and the hardcore title are kind of the same exact thing. If you can just pin somebody anywhere, that's stupid. If you can out of nowhere beat the shit out of somebody and have a match, that's a little bit different. But at the same time, I think there should have been more regular, a little bit more regulation involved in the hardcore title, where it actually
Okay,
had to.
so it would be Bob Backlund's record that would be next,
And then Hulk Hogan's.
and then Hulk Hogan. Bob Backlund's at 2000. Well, this is recognized by WWE. 2,138 days.
Okay.
He's at. I have this on my phone. Roman Reigns is at 17 right now. 1793.
So he's almost to Backlund's reign. He's just got to get another like 400, 500 days.
Yeah. Basically get him to past WrestleMania.
So if he gets past WrestleMania, he'll beat Bob Backlund's record, which I don't know why they didn't like. I now it might have just been an admission by Adam Cole, a little slip up, but they completely left out Bob Backlund when they were mentioning title reigns. They just completely left him out. And I wonder what that was all about. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. I kind of think it wasn't. I think it was just a slip up.
I don't think it was.
So
I
fast
think
forward
it was.
to the end of the show. CM Punk comes out and he
CM
says,
Punk.
and he does this promo, which I mean, it was a good promo. I thought it was good and everything. It was, hugging, kissing babies and all that kind of stuff. And he talks about
Hey, I'm
everybody in the
back.
back loved him and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. But like at the very end, he talks about, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money, which is kind of like a poke in the eye AEW if you look at it in the right way. David LaGreca.
Apparently, he can't say AEW on WWE, which I'm like, he's going to figure out a way.
Well, so the thing is that the A show never talks about the B show. The B show always talks about the A show.
Oh, it always happens that way.
Yeah. So they're not going to mention AEW because AEW doesn't deserve to be on their air. Why give them that opportunity? And that's their idea on it. Personally, I'm glad to see Punk back in the ring. Now David LaGreca and the guys on Busted Open were kind of throwing this back and forth. They were talking about how it seemed like Punk was like, I'm here because of you, and he's talking to the crowd, and then he turns around and tells everybody, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money, which kind of like negates him talking about being there for the crowd.
Yeah.
Then the Greca is going, well, now if you look at it from this angle, it could also mean this and that. And I'm like, maybe we're looking too much into it, but at the same time, it makes sense that he's kind of just jabbing at AEW.
Oh yeah, no, you could definitely tell the tension.
Yeah, so that's the way they go off the air, and it was kind of cool. I'm glad to see Punk. I don't think that I think this is going to be a slow thing. It's not going to be overnight.
I agree. I think it'll be a slow burn.
Yeah, I think it'll be a slow burn. I don't think that tomorrow he's going to be holding a belt and all this. I have a feeling
I'd
that
be surprised if that happened though, but no.
I'm not going to be surprised if you don't see Punk for a while. Like,
I would not be surprised either.
no, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up down in the performance center actually working out for a while, just to get, I mean, make sure that he's really ready for being in the WWE ring again. Mind you, yeah, he got his matches in and stuff like that, and he's not a slouch in the ring, but for himself, because of the perfectionist that he is, I think he would probably want to get in the ring with somebody and bounce around for a while and get his feet under him.
Do you think
And
we'd see Punk in NXT? I'd love to see that.
a performance in NXT or an appearance?
An appearance.
An appearance, very likely. I actually think that's a very likely thing, but probably further down the road.
I would think that it would happen, and then it'd be like, how Becky Lynch took the title, the women's title. New Day held the NXT title for a
Do
little
you
bit.
think he'll go down there and snatch up the NXT title or the North American title off of Dom?
Oh, I think
Actually-
Wesley. I think Wesley is going to take it off of Dom before.
And I think he should. But with the way the storyline's been going, that would
I
ruin-
hope he
Yeah.
does, and I'm like, Dom deserves what he's going to get.
What did you think of the Ilya Dragunov match? Did you watch that?
No, I did not watch it.
It's just so he gets in this really intense match with his buddy. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name right now. He's kind of new and mid-cardish to me. So he gets in this match with the other guy. You know what? I should look that up just so I'm not leaving the guy in the dust here. NXT.
No, I after the original NXT left out the door, I haven't paid that close attention.
Oh, well.
When NXT 2.0 took place, I'm like, nope, I'm done with that.
NXT, man, is actually turned a corner. They are probably better than they were before. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, NXT highlights. Let me see if I can. So they had the Garza match. Garza and his cousin. Is it his cousin or his brother? I think
It's his cousin.
Yeah, those guys are actually starting to shine a little bit.
I like that. I do.
Well, they've gotten more aggressive, and that's what really worked out.
That's what needs to happen.
Okay, Ilya Dragunov. Nathan Frazier, that's his name. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
okay, yeah.
Nathan. You're still new, and I'm, still half brain dead. So anyway, but their match was pretty intense. They had a really good match, but like Ilya beat the crap out of him, and then Baron Corbin comes up on the screen. See, that's the thing that you're missing right now is what Baron Corbin is doing in NXT. By not watching NXT, Baron Corbin's doing some really good work.
Oh, I've noticed Baron Corbin on NXT. But I'm like, it's the same old for me with Baron Corbin. No offense to Baron Corbin. It's just a little bit different. It still feels like maybe not the latest persona on him.
Yeah.
Maybe not the latest persona, but it still feels like same old. Maybe just with a little bit more pizzazz or whatever you call it.
Intensity?
Yeah, intensity. I guess it would be,
I would go with intensity, not pizzazz, because he's actually kind of shed a lot of the crap off of him. Like when he's having this conversation with Ilya Dragunov, he's really emphasizing on just knocking Dragunov in a way that, like, because Dragunov, he doesn't have any family near him. He's kind of isolated, and Baron Corbin's been using that isolation as a way to kind of like get in his head. And I think it's working. and it's creating some pretty dramatic situations. The Chase U stuff, it's boring. It's just boring. I don't know. I don't have any other way to say it, yeah, it's boring.
Yeah.
And NXT, now mind you, I did enjoy watching the Dawn and the Garza Carlio match. Those guys bounced around pretty good. It was a good match. But as far as like drama and story, it didn't have anything that really captured you. It just didn't. Stax Lorenzo's pretty one note kind of dude,
There's something going on between the family and Chase U.
something like it seems
Something's going on.
well, I think Chase U owes the family money. I think they loaned him money is what it is. I think that
I feel like it was more like they got the title and then they got it back.
well, I just think that so Chase U, if you were watching, is under investigation for problems with money. And what I think happened is that they borrowed money from the family to help pay for kayfabe, they're paying for Chase U University's scholarly, pursuits or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just, I don't know. It's kind of lame. Now, the thing that I'm kind of interested in right now is Lexus King. And I just now, if you remember watching, oh my God, what's his real name?
I'm sorry, hold on.
Lexus King, his dad died, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
I know who it is. Yeah. Brian Pillman Jr.
Thank you. God,
I had to think for a minute there.
Well,
Who was
see
it?
this
Yeah.
is what happens when you do a show right after you've like done 8 hours of working outside and stuff. Your brain gets fried. We had to rush home for this one, so I apologize for my brain
Brian
deadedness.
Pillman Jr. I know because
Okay,
he's
so when
also
we
on
watched him
AEW.
when we watched him in AEW, he made me when he was with the Hollywood Blondes or whatever it was.
That was dumb.
It was a lame ass tag team, and it was like the mullet hairdo and his gimmick was lame. He's still very green, and he still shows that in the ring here. Like if you watch him in the ring, he's still got a lot of green. His movements, I just think he needs to tighten some screws, and I actually think he should maybe contact Bully Ray or whatever and go down to his school for a bit. Start learning from some people that can really help him. Well, his gimmick now, Lexus King, I don't really dig the name, but his
I don't dig the
character's
name either. It wasn't the best. I think they could have done better.
I don't know. I mean, maybe just you could have called him anything King, and it would have been better than Lexus King. Just
like Aaron King or Jake King
or Brian King.
Brian King.
Yeah, I don't, just anything but Lexus.
Brian was a great name for Brian Pillman Jr. Why give it up now?
Well, he wanted to separate himself from his dad. I get that.
I get that, but it's not the best.
Anyway, I guess Lexus is just what they went with. But anyway, moving on with life. His match with Brooks Jensen was okay. And it just there's a lot of holes in his game still. And I want to see him tighten that up. And I think that he needs to do is tighten that up by reps. He needs more reps.
Yeah.
And you know what it would probably be best to do is actually team him up with somebody for a short period in a tag team. Somebody that of note that actually knows what the hell they're doing in the ring, and get him in the ring with somebody that can fill his head, because I mean the time he spent it with somebody that was greener than him. You know what I mean? He needs to be in the ring with a tag team member that is put a veteran next to him that knows what they're doing. And I think that a little bit of time with a vet, that'll tighten his game up. and then kind of relaunch him on a solo thing.
Yeah.
I
can
just
see
I,
that.
I think that's something that would help him. The number one contenders match, I did not like. I thought it was lame. It was just a lot of people helping each other do moves.
Yeah. No, I get that.
You know, and Bronson Reed, I like big guys, but
What happened to Big Bronson though? You see him? He took a face to the groin.
yeah. But it's just like they bill him as this monster, right? And then they just beat him all the time. It's
Mhm.
like, give this guy like a 10 match winning spree. You know, where like nobody could beat him for like a good 10 matches. You know, if I remember right, wasn't it Leo Rush that had good matches with Bronson like way back when the golden was black and gold still?
Black and gold brand.
Wasn't it Leo Rush that it was the small guy that he wrestled with?
It sounds familiar.
It sounds right.
It sounds right. I don't know if we're exactly right, but yeah, it sounds
If
right.
I remember right, he had some really good matches with a smaller wrestler. I can't remember who it was. I thought it was
Funny
Leo
if it would be
Rush.
Tozawa.
What?
It'd be funny if it was Tozawa.
No, it definitely wasn't Tozawa. No, I think it was Leo Rush. No, but yeah, no, I remember him having some. That's what I think he needs. He needs to have some matches with some smaller guys that kind of like he can, but then he needs to start smashing them instead of them winning over him all the time, because he keeps elevating all the small guys by being the big guy that they can beat.
Yeah, I think they need to get him to start winning again on a consistent push.
Well, what they need to do is move him to the main roster.
Oh, they have. He was up on the main roster.
Yeah, but
for
they didn't
the
do
longest
shit
time.
with him. They didn't do shit
Yeah.
with him.
Well, they tried to.
Well, all right. So his entrance is crap. That is the problem.
Yes, it is crap.
His entrance is crap.
His
They
NXT
need to
entrance
have a
was better.
dynamic entrance for him that actually gets the crowd involved, as
Mhm.
opposed to these entrances. If you listened, like I can't remember what it was. It was a while back, but they had him come out during a pay-per-view, and the crowd was just like, "Bah." They did not give a shit. You know, the match they enjoyed. You can hear him kind of get into the match and whatnot, but like when he came out, they did not give a shit. They did not care at all. You know. Anyway, so what do you got for me for AEW, man?
Okay, so AEW for the most part was not that interesting.
It's like, why are we here? Nothing was interesting.
Nothing in AEW was interesting. Except I'm very intrigued on the Samoa Joe MJF stuff. What's going on there? Because that goes way beyond everything that we could think of. You know, because we know MJF at one point was a security guard. He got pushed in the face by Samoa Joe.
You're talking about when he was in WWE.
Yeah. Apparently that's come into the mix now, and now
That's become part of the storyline.
that has become part of it.
Oh wow, okay.
So
I don't get to watch a lot of AEW because of like
in the begining it was part of
platform
it.
they're on.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning it was, and now Adam Cole and MJF.
What's
I
with the
love their
hobo
tag team.
look? Like
With
his
MJ
beard is weird, man.
I don't know what's going on. I think that's just a different look with him.
Not
to
to
be
steal a
honest.
line from Machine Gun Kelly, but his beard is weird, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd also like to sit on my stand for the women's roster of AEW. You need to book them better. Take the pen out of Tony Khan's hands and give it to someone who actually cares. Because
Put a microphone back in Britt Baker's hands.
Yes.
Like let Britt talk, man.
Let Britt talk.
She could put asses in seats. Asses in seats.
I don't think Paige or Saraya can do it. Can put butts in seats like she used to in WWE.
She didn't put butts in seats in
She
in
didn't
WWE.
that much in WWE.
No,
either,
she was just there. Like Paige is all right. So Paige is a good in-ring worker.
She is a great in-ring worker.
When she's
Putting stuff in seats, that's a different story.
it's just she's never been that awesome on the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just she never has been. Even when she got a lot from AJ, you know, learning from AJ and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, yes, I know her whole family is wrestling like royalty in England and whatever, but honestly, they kind of suck.
Oh, the other thing that's with World's End coming up. It's the newest pay-per-view
Oh yeah,
for AEW now. World's End. It's of course who's gonna headline it? MJF, Samoa Joe. I'm not surprised there. So then Continental Classic was happening. It kicked off with Swerve Strickland. I thought this was not the greatest of match. I just thought it was just
you talking about the Adam Page Swerve Strickland match?
No. Swerve Strickland, Jay Lethal.
Oh, okay, all right.
Jay Lethal.
Yeah, I heard a lot
match.
about this Swerve Strickland Adam Page match with the whole drinking blood thing.
Yeah, I've heard this too, and it does not sound the best either.
It just sounds excessive to me.
It sounds just as excessive as what was it? Seth Rollins putting a thing through Rey Mysterio's eye.
Oh yeah, but that was total BS, and it didn't even look real.
It looked dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb. Yeah, it was pretty dumb. Now, if you want to talk about so here's the line that you should be able to cross. Do you remember when Randy Orton stuck his finger through Jeff Hardy's earring? And was pulling on it. That was fucking brutal, man. Oh,
yeah,
that was cool. But see, that kind of stuff is that's psychology there. You know, the whole spike in the eyeball thing, it just looked fake. You know, but oh man, when Randy Orton stuck his finger through Jeff Hardy's earring, was pulling on it, I felt that. I don't even have that stuff, you know, but I could feel that. That's the kind of stuff I can get into. But come on, they're cutting somebody open and drinking their blood, dude.
No, that's just gross at this time. The other thing
Tommy did that stuff in ECW a million years ago, and it didn't help him much.
No, but that was ECW though. ECW is the weird part of the family.
Well, ECW was blood and guts, buddy. You know,
that's all it was.
Extreme, you know, but but back then it was cool.
It was cool. I agree. It was absolutely
but it's been done to death. The whole death match light tube crap, I'm just over it, man.
Yeah. So how do you feel about Christian Cage?
Christian has been doing some good verbal work, and his mic work is great. Now, the whole thing about the son, you know, these are my kids kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of it I haven't really gotten to see myself.
Luchasaurus got a name change.
I would like to see Luchasaurus get rid of the damn mask and the whole gimmick.
Luchasaurus will now be called Killswitch.
Right, I'm aware of that. Right, which is funny because you know where that name comes from, right?
I think so.
It's the name of the Unprettier. When he was in TNA, he changed the Unprettier from the WWE to the Kill Switch in TNA. It's the same move.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So that was his finishing move. So he named him after his own finishing move. Which I do like the name though. Kill Switch isn't a bad name, but they need to do something with the gimmick also. Let's lose.
Yeah, that gimmick's getting old.
The Luchasaurus is a sore ass. It just needs to move on.
Yeah, I love what they're calling a blood feud now between Adam
They need
Copeland,
to
Christian
wipe
Cage.
Preparation H all over Luchasaurus so that he's no longer a sore ass.
Isn't that the truth? And then
I thought the gimmick was kind of lame to begin with, but when they had Jack Perry like walking down the ring with him, the Jungle Boy Luchasaurus thing, it kind of fit, so
it fit for
yeah.
me. And then when Jack Perry and Luchasaurus split, it was like change the name.
And Jack being a bad guy, he sucks, dude.
Jack Perry as a bad guy, it's
sucks.
not good.
Well, you know what he reminds me of when he comes out like with the sunglasses and stuff? That guy from the 70s show ended up getting himself put into prison. Hyde. He reminds me of Hyde.
Yeah, I remember.
It's like, I don't know if that's what you want to represent, bro. But yeah, I don't know. Well, that and Perry, he sucks on the mic.
Jack Perry just sucks in general, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, I've only seen so many of his matches.
He's not good.
Really, he's not. Okay.
I mean, he's good when it counts, but overall, he's not good.
Maybe he.
I mean, yes, he won the FTR championship, but that's not really a championship.
You mean the FTW championship?
Yeah, the FTW. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, FTR is a tag team.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The FTW championship, but I consider that as a championship, as much of a championship as like the internet championship. Remember back in the day with Zack Ryder?
Yeah. Well,
I take that. Yeah. Yeah,
but so it's the same thing. Taz created the FTW title in ECW because he was pissed off about something. I can't even remember the storyline.
I can't remember the storyline either.
I think it was because he didn't have a title, so he made himself a title. It's the same thing, So that's basically what it was, and it's just crap. It's just stupid. Get rid of the fucking title. Either that or make it mean something. Either that or make it mean something. Yeah,
that's what I get. That's what I understand.
Yeah.
If you're going to create a title, make it mean something. Don't just have a title to have a title.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Besides the $1 million championship.
Speaking of Taz, I want to see more out of Hook.
Yeah.
I would like to see more out of Hook. The thing is, Hook's not a very big guy, but he makes himself believable with his actual wrestling acumen. That dude can move.
Yeah.
He's got some ability. So, I mean, I would say that, yeah, Hook's gimmick is pretty cool, but if he was in anywhere else but AEW, he wouldn't have that gimmick. He wouldn't be able to use. So I would like to see what he can do depth-wise and elevate himself. I think Hook needs to evolve. Yeah, I think Hook needs an evolution of a character. So when it comes to Christian Cage and this trio, so from what I understand, the young guy, I'm sorry, I'm sure you know his name and I don't.
I think it's Nick Young.
Nick Young. Okay. So he is a second or third generation wrestler whose father died. And that's part of the gimmick of what's going on with him and Christian. The thing is that young man apparently has been wrestling since he was very, very young. I would
not surprise me.
I heard an interview with, I think it was Busted Open Radio, with David LaGreca and the guys there. And
yeah, I gotta listen to that.
That was a really good interview, and from what I understand, that kid has been wrestling since he was very small, like 9-10 years old. So, and he has just begun to scratch the surface of his pro career, and dude, he's already rubbing elbows with giants. So I'm saying this now. Watch this kid closely, because if he is what I perceive him to be, he will be a big deal one day. I have a feeling he's gonna, and if he can get away from the mud show bullshit that AEW's been throwing out there, maybe he can actually stretch his wings and become a real deal. Get out of there. Go to WWE, man. Get some real learning. I'm just sorry.
A lot of these stars in AEW are big now, but I don't think they're going to be besides Cody Rhodes, which he already been through WWE before.
Well,
Cody's the exception, man.
Yeah, he's kind of the exception to the rule in a lot of cases. And anybody that's from WWE that went to AEW, if they go back, yeah. But anybody that's homegrown or came from smaller promotions, go to the WWE, get your feet wet there, and learn something. And then
I would not be surprised if, So we know Swerve Strickland was.
he was in WWE. He learned a
WWE.
lot while he was
Yeah, he
there. That's
did.
why he's doing so well now in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is I think Swerve actually, sitting under the learning tree. I mean, he asked Shawn Michaels to sit down and watch his tapes, and he actually got a lot of one-on-one time with Shawn Michaels. Where did I catch that interview? I think it was Chris Van Vliet. Fleet. I always say his name wrong. I'm sorry, CVV. I'm just really bad at saying names.
We're not good with names today, apparently.
Yeah, no, we're not. But CVV, he does great interviews. He is he's an award-winning interviewer. He's great. At the same time, I screw up the last part of his name, and I'm sorry. But I believe he just had an interview with Swerve Strickland, and in that interview, Swerve mentions the time he had spent sitting down with Shawn Michaels, and that time was very important for him. And he learned a lot of really good lessons from him. So the things that he had learned in that short period of time, when they broke up was it Hit Row? Yeah, when they broke up.
Yeah, when they broke up Hit Row,
and Swerve Strickland left, that's when Hit Row died.
Yeah,
they tried to put it back together, and it just did not work without Swerve.
No, it didn't work out without Swerve. Swerve was like the Adam,
he was the Adam Cole. You were right. Yeah. He was the Adam Cole of the Undisputed Era. And so
in AEW tried to do the undisputed era thing in AEW. It didn't work out well.
No, the dynamic didn't work.
No, not anymore, because it'd already been done.
Right. No, if you went back to NXT and did it, yeah.
People would be dying to see that.
Well, just see Adam Cole back in where he belongs. Honestly, I think he belongs to WWE. I when he left, I was like, no, dude, don't do it.
Well, I think he wanted to be with his
woman,
with Brett.
Yeah, but then he also got hooked up with the Elite, and he spent time with those guys in the past, and they're buddies. But I just
gotta love buddies in this industry.
There's too much of this buddy shit. Like,
especially, it's bigger in AEW than it is in WWE.
I'm starting to believe the hype that the freaking Young Bucks are a cancer. It just seems like
I think the Young Bucks are more of a cancer, and I think that Kenny Omega is not the problem.
No, I don't think Kenny Omega is a problem at all.
I think it's the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks got to go.
Yeah, no, and then it's like Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. Those guys can hold their own. They don't need anybody.
You remember when Kenny Omega was just eating championships like it was candy?
Yeah, when he was doing the belt hunting thing. Yeah,
I mean, that was the greatest thing with him.
Well, and the thing is he's been hurt so often lately.
Oh, I know. I absolutely know he's been hurt, which makes me sad because it's wasted potential.
Well, and then I just think Kenny actually. So I'm not a big fan of the whole running in place for a minute before you take off kind of shit that he does. He just does certain movements that kind of I don't know. Kenny needs to slow down, to be more methodical in his movement. If he was to take a page from Randy Orton, I think that he could actually have greatness.
Yeah, I think Kenny Omega is the AEW version of could be the AEW version of Randy Orton.
He has to slow down, though.
Yeah, he has to slow down.
Well, because the thing about Randy is there's no wasted movement. Everything has meaning. Randy doesn't do anything that doesn't mean something. He takes his time. And I hear this over and over and over again from all of the major, in my opinion, I should say, the major people in wrestling. And to me, as a wrestling fan, a nerd of the wrestling world, I listen to guys like Bully Ray.
No, I get that.
I listen to guys like Randy Orton.
Those
Sometimes
guys.
sometimes
maybe,
I listen to Mark Henry. Sometimes I'm like, wait, what are you talking about, Mark?
wait a minute. Go, stop. Just stop yourself for right there. Just 1 minute right there. So yeah.
Mark goes
going,
off the rails sometimes. I don't know. He cracks.
Kind of like us when we're almost 2 hours in.
Yeah. Well, that
happens.
Welcome to our inaugural. This is a wrestling podcast. This is not like your other podcast. I mean, this is
not the round table.
no. We can go. And the thing is like, dude, Jim goes for like 3-4 hours. Man, we're good.
That's true. So going back, Christian Cage, Adam Copeland. What do you think
I'll
about?
put another ad break in there somewhere else.
we should do our second ad. We should do our second break then.
Second break, but
Yeah,
that means
second
we're going to
break.
keep going for a while. Okay, well, we'll be right back after this message.
Ever wanted to be a content creator but had no clue where to begin? Come join me as I sit down with content creators that have already faced the challenges you're up against, as they discuss the tips and tricks that help them be successful. Here on The Content Creator's Guide, available wherever podcasts can be found.
Okay, folks. Yep, we did another commercial break because we are going long, and we may do this on a regular basis because
We're wrestlers.
we love wrestling. We're not wrestlers. We're wrestling fans. Let's be clear on that. Okay, I've never done a bump off the ropes. So from what I understand, just doing
I would
that
love
is
to.
enough to make people go, I can't do this.
Uh-uh.
So I'm not going to ever claim to be a wrestler until I have actually taken a bump in a ring and had like a match. And that's probably never going to happen. So I'll just stick with being a fan. All right, cool. As a matter of fact, TKS Mantis, one of our buddies in the Fallout universe, has actually taken his first bump in a wrestling ring, and it hurts.
Yeah, from what he's told us, yeah.
It is confirmed. It hurts.
It hurts.
Little shout out to TKS Mantis there. So getting back into this, you were about to start talking about the TNT title, right?
Yeah, because they're supposed to be facing off next week, and either this Collision this week on Collision or next week on Dynamite. I think it's Collision though. I'm trying to look up the card for Collision,
where it's actually going to take place as far as the title match.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not doing it on a pay-per-view. They're just doing it on a regular television airing, huh?
Yeah.
They do that a lot in AEW. That's one thing I do like, because I remember back in the day, WWE would do title matches periodically outside of a pay-per-view, which I think they should go back to doing. Maybe not necessarily world title or universal title, but like the United States title and the Intercontinental titles. I think they should go back to, every once in a while doing one on a regular show.
I agree, but here's the thing though. Going back to TNT championship, whenever it is, it's either going to happen this week or next. Or it's already happened by the time this comes out. It should be a great match, to be honest, between Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. Just how much chemistry is there.
Well, they know each other. I mean,
they know. Yeah, that's the thing. They know each other.
The only thing is that dynamic of knowing each other. The other thing that is really good is if you've ever watched people that know and love each other, like these two love each other. They're like brothers.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that kind of connection with somebody, it's like FTR fighting each other.
It is kind of like
they
FTR
will
fighting
beat
each other.
the ever loving shit out of each other because they have that comfortability. So you're going to have a knockdown, drag out all the way to the edge. Pardon the pun. You know, that's going to be a hell of a match. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to go all out.
Oh wait, yeah.
Another pun. Another pun.
I was going back. Yes, the latest pay-per-view was Full Gear. Full Gear just happened like a couple weeks.
Okay, and
prior
they don't
of
have very
Survivor
many
Series.
pay-per-views, right? Or are they starting?
No, they
ramp
don't
up?
have many.
Yeah. So, all right. So what I was thinking, all right, I'm going to go into speculative mode here. All right. So MJF is our title holder, and Samoa Joe is
He's
going
the-
to go
I
against
think he
him.
does a great job.
So Samoa Joe and him are supposed to have a match win.
World's End.
World's
It's
End.
there- it'll be it's kind of like on the same tier as like WWE. What was it? Clash of the Castle
Okay.
or
Oh, is this going to be overseas?
no, it's not going to. I don't
Okay,
think
okay.
so. No.
Okay. I know that they have plans to go and do.
Oh
Some
no,
stuff
they have
overseas,
All In.
right?
All In is already scheduled for 2024.
And that's going to be in Europe, I
London,
think.
Wembley.
That's cool. Oh, okay. All right. That's starting to make sense now with the whole Wembley talk from before.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see.
where Will
next...
Ospreay got the tattoo.
Yeah. Well,
Dummy.
okay. For everyone listening, AEW World's End will be in Long Island, New York, hometown of MGF, at Nassau
Okay.
Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
That's a problem. If they go with
That is a big problem.
well, because if they're to go with Wrestling World, most people lose when they're in their hometown. It's just how
Yeah,
now. So they could put the strap on. Yes, I called it a strap. The
I don't
belt,
care.
the
belt,
title,
the strap.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. Cry me a river. I need to swim.
Okay, so speaking of hometowns, Adam Cage, no, sorry, TNT champion Christian Cage. I finally found it.
Okay.
Will be defending his title against the Radar superstar Adam Copeland. It doesn't roll off the tongue like Edge, but
No.
In Montreal.
I wonder how he
Dynamite.
feels about that.
At the Bell Center.
Well, at least they didn't do like, they do when a lot of people like leave and go to a different promotion. They'll change their name to something similar to their old name.
No, Adam Copeland's actually his name, though.
Right. But at least he didn't come out as, I'm the corner. That would be dumb. Anyway,
That'd be really dumb.
So and I'm hoping that MJF actually wins in his hometown because I'm setting things up here.
I hope so.
And what I would like to see is the next pay-per-view, a nice, good storyline. And I think maybe utilizing this whole devil thing, if it's Swerve Strickland underneath there.
Oh, yeah. That I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
If they were to do that and put Swerve Strickland underneath that mask and just
that was so good.
have some really gnarly stuff happen between MJF and Swerve Strickland and put that title on Swerve.
You know who I think needs the title, though?
I just think the company needs Swerve with the title. And I think that might help.
I think, to be honest, I think Swerve should get the Continental title. Should win the Classic. It's their version of like the US title that WWE has.
I think you need to pull the trigger on Swerve now while he's hot.
I honestly, this is where you and I both disagree. I don't think so. I think I think MJ.
It's okay to disagree.
I think MJF is just that big of a superstar in AEW to He's kind of like the AEW version of Roman Reigns right now, but he's doing more than Roman Reigns.
Well, he's the only thing holding that. If you look at I listen to other podcasts that mention the actual like viewership in detail, and whenever MJF is on the screen, that's when they hold, retain, or grow their viewership.
Yeah,
It's
that's
anytime
the
he's on
whole
there.
thing.
Yeah. Now
On
the
top
same
of it,
thing.
they're the ROH. Him and Adam Cole, better than you, baby. Tag team are ROH tag team champions.
Yeah.
Which I think that's great, to be honest.
Well, we need Adam Cole to get back in shape so that the storyline can progress, though, because it's kind of been sitting for too long. But no, I think it would be best for business if they were to put the belt on Swerve Strickland for a time, and then have Swerve Strickland beaten by Samoa Joe, and then have MJF chase Samoa Joe to get the title back.
But would Samoa Joe though be a villain or a babyface? That's the whole thing.
Samoa Joe's a mercenary.
Well, we have all learned that
Swerve's a bad guy. He's a good
Swerve's a bad guy, but so is Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe can be a bad,
right now he's a bad guy.
but and that's just it. Samoa Joe's on the fence because him and MJF, the way they work together in that tag team element, Joe can one day be a baby face and the very next day be a bad guy. He's got that ability. He's on that realm. It's just like, I know it's a crazy reference, but the Miz, like Miz can literally go baby face like that and turn right around and go bad guy just like that, all in the same show.
Yeah, no, I know the Miz can do that, and I feel
Samoa Joe
can do the
still
same
has
thing.
Samoa Joe's got that same ability, so he can actually play to the strengths or weaknesses of the people that are actually with him, and that's something that Swerve likes to do. Is instead of playing to the instead of exposing the weaknesses of others in his matches, he likes to placate towards their strengths and help elevate the match as a whole. So I think Samoa Joe being as just knockdown, drag out badass as he is, I think what could happen here is Swerve trying to be the smarmy, criminal, thuggish, can't be stopped kind of bad guy that tries to pull this crap on Samoa Joe, and you can't do it because Samoa is just that dark. So you got two villains kind of knocking heads, and it's like this power struggle between superpowers at this point. And then, you get this point where Swerve actually gets to Samoa Joe in some way, some psychological way, not necessarily physical, but some psychological button that he's able to push on Joe that pushes Joe over the edge into just complete psycho Joe. Remember when Joe tried the paint on his face?
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that where he now, if you took the paint off of his face and just let Joe go completely psycho, like,
Psycho Joe,
just like, just dark, let him go dark and have it where he's that anti-hero kind of element where it's Swerve's just total swarmy, bad thug guy. And then Samoa Joe is the trying not to be the bad guy, but he's being pushed so hard that he just snaps and loses his shit and just like, that's the Joe you want for that part. And then you have this match that culminates to it. And then Joe gets the title. And then for a little while, he plays kind of a baby face-ish kind of title holder, whatnot. You know what I mean? And then maybe if you're keeping MJF the good guy, you just leave Joe alone and let him slowly progress to being an asshole and let it be an ego thing. You know what I mean? As he's holding on to the title, his ego keeps growing and growing and growing. He becomes kind of this asshole-ish. He knows exactly how to pull that off over a short period of time. Or he could do a baby face, and then MJF can turn back into an asshole, which would make everybody happy. MJF as the bad guy was great. Like, I don't know. I kind of miss the dick MJF.
The salt of the earth, MJF.
Yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the week. I do you have anything else?
I mostly Collision is going to be a good one because they're going to continue the Continental Classic for the Continental title, which is basically it's their mid-card title. They dropped their mid-card title, and it's, but besides that, it's your run-of-the-mill show. I mean, besides my soapbox of booking the women better.
You've stated that a few times. Yes.
I think that they should book the women better. But besides that, I thought overall it wasn't. I'd give it a B.
The week in wrestling, or
yeah,
just the whole week. It's just
the whole week. It was a B. It was good, but it wasn't over the top good.
Yeah, other than CM Punk, CM Punk was like the highlight of the week as far as I can tell, and it was okay.
And that's a 3-count thought for you.
All right. All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. As we go forward, we're going to introduce more and more things. We have no idea what we're doing. We're just shooting from the hip here. But yeah. So we'll see you guys next week, and see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good morning.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.